This vaccine stock was just bought by three major asset managers. State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock just bought Novavax, which is a vaccine maker for COVID, obviously. So this company is being bought by the largest asset managers in the entire world. We saw State Street increase its holdings by 5%, Vanguard increase its holdings by 4%, and we saw BlackRock increase their holdings by 46%. So this signals to me that the largest asset managers in the world are bullish on the stock. First off, what I'll cover in today's video is I'll give a price prediction at the end of the video, and I'll also go over some short interest numbers you need to know for Novavax. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit more about this. So we can also see here that we had some other buyers. We had Geode Capital Management increase their holdings by 39%. We saw Bank of America be about flat. Northern Trust increased their holdings by 117%. Bank of Canada increased their holdings by 147%. Like I said, this is signaling to me that Wall Street is very bullish on the stock. And typically, when a stock is basically flat for a quarter and you see buying, that's typically a signal that this is company specific buying. So they're not kind of actively pushing money towards this stock. This is active decisions that are being made to buy Novavax. And I think it's in reaction to what we're seeing in COVID cases, which I'll cover at the end of the video. But right now, let's go over some insider buys that we saw over the past quarter. So in April, we saw about 4,000 shares be bought by the head of their R&D department, Glenn Gregory. It seems as if Glenn is uniquely positioned to be one of those people within the company that would know about an upcoming vaccine or something related to R&D, right? A new vaccine, basically. So I do think he is kind of positioned to know a lot about the company. So I see this insider buy as a good sign. And it's a stark contrast from what we saw in 2021 when we saw a ton of insider selling. And now this is kind of the first trickle of insider buying that we've been getting, which definitely signals that those people who know the most about this company are buying more of the stock, which to me signals that things are pretty good over at Novavax. And then let's take a look at the short interest numbers for the stocks. We can see that about 50% of the float is sold short. So obviously that's a huge chunk for a company. You really don't see this over 40% too often. So definitely a high likelihood for a short squeeze. And we can see that Fintel here, which is what I'm using right now, they rank the company 102nd in terms of most likely to have a short squeeze, which puts them in the top 2% of companies throughout the stock market. Basically, Fintel grades out every single company in the market and gives it a grade based on short squeeze likelihood. Given we're in the top 2% for Novavax, that definitely signals that a short squeeze is extremely likely for this name. And then when we take a look at some of the other stats we can see that there is a short borrow fee rate of 10%. This is basically the rate that investors are charging to short their shares. Typically, this rate is anywhere from 0.3% to 3%. So to be nearly triple that average rate definitely signals that it's becoming very expensive to short the stock, which signals that it's going to get harder to short shares, which is obviously a good thing for the stock price. And then let's take a look at failure to deliver numbers. So we can see that 121,000 shares failed to deliver in August. And this is actually, almost a tripling of their July number of about 43,000 shares, failing to deliver. Basically, what this means is when a short seller actually is called back, right? They have to actually deliver those shares to the investor back that they had shorted it from, that they have lent it out to. They actually have to deliver those shares back. And if they don't, it's called failing to deliver. and they're allowed to to not actually deliver the share right when the investor acts for the share back from the short seller. They're allowed 60 days before the SEC comes after them and tells them to actually deliver those shares. So all this number tells you here is that basically in the next 60 days, there's going to be 121,000 shares bought by short sellers to cover their shorts. So that must happen. So interesting to see that there. And then we can see that the last time numbers were this high was in March, April, and May. And then, if we go back years, the last time numbers were consistently this high was in 2020. And obviously, shares went nuts during that time. So definitely a signal of, possible moves higher in prices based on those failing to deliver numbers. So short squeeze seems extremely likely for Novavax. And then really the catalyst that's been driving Novavax has been COVID, right? The more COVID cases that are out there, the more likely it is that people go out and they actually get this vaccine. So, to see this jump in COVID cases definitely signals that the importance of Novavax vaccine is, growing greater every single day here. So we can see that over the past couple weeks in Italy, the UK, Romania, there have been a massive jump in COVID cases. And I would show the US, which has also seen a massive jump, but they actually stopped reporting data holistically here through the WHO back in May. So I don't have the absolute accurate numbers, but I do know week over week COVID cases were up around 10% for the US. So we're definitely seeing COVID cases rise in the US, but wanted to kind of show you these countries as well, because it really gives you a good picture of what COVID's doing around the globe. So definitely signaling that COVID cases are on the rise. Obviously, as we go into the winter, you can expect that to continue, which will be a positive catalyst for Novavax. And then with that being said, we're coming down to test a major support level at about $7, which is where shares had bottomed out in August. It's also where the stock had bottomed out in June and May, along with April here. So this is where the stock has bottomed out consistently over the past couple months. And we even bottomed out around this level before we had that massive jump in COVID cases. So now we're seeing that catalyst play out. We're coming down to test a major support level. I believe this support level holds, and we see a move higher for this stock over the coming weeks. So still very bullish on Novavax here. Think now that we're actually coming down to exactly this support level, I do think we kind of do a 180 here. We see the stock move higher over the coming weeks. And then if you were to take a look at which months the stock typically does well in, which month the stock typically does poorly in, we can see that September is typically one of the worst months for the stock. It's actually the third worst month in the stock's history. So on average in September, shares decline 5%. But good news is we are going into October, where shares do typically rise, and December, where shares rise about 3% on average. So yes, we're in a bad month seasonality wise. But as we kind of make our way out of September, things do look pretty good for Novavax in terms of a seasonality trend. So coming down to test major support, COVID cases acting as a catalyst, we're seeing those large asset managers buy the stock, and short interest numbers are implying a short squeeze. All that leads me to believe that Novavax likely heads higher over the coming weeks, over the coming months. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will end it there.
If you got some value from this video, please leave a like. We post company breakdowns and important market moving news on this channel on a daily basis, so make sure you are subscribed. If you would like to receive my daily portfolio moves, my exits, my entries, and see how me and my team of analysts are trading the markets, join the Discord through the link in the description below to get our free 7-day trial. Also, if you would like to join our free daily newsletter, sign up to our Substack, which is linked below as well. With that being said, good luck everyone, happy trading, happy investing.